Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder how, I don't know, how fast a really private moment can just explode, become this global headline?
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying, actually.
It really is. Well, today we're diving headfirst into a story that perfectly shows this. It's the Astronomer CEO and that whole Coldplay kiss cam thing.
Oh, yeah, that one. Wild.
So our mission today, basically, is to take all these sources you've shared, the articles, the analysis, even the social media reactions, which are pretty raw, and really unpack it, not just what happened, but like, why did it blow up so much? What does it tell us about leadership, ethics, privacy now?
It's a really compelling case study, isn't it? Because it starts as this seemingly lighthearted, almost nothing moment at a concert.
Right, totally normal.
And then it just spirals, completely unravels careers, lives. It's just the stark, almost brutal look at how unforgiving that social media spotlight is. Instant judgment, instant accountability.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. It's July 16th, 2025. Big Coldplay concert, Foxborough, Massachusetts. Stadium's packed.
Classic summer concert scene.
Exactly. And you know the drill. The kiss cam starts doing its thing, panning across the crowd. Bit of fun, usually.
Yeah, standard stuff.
And then bam, the camera zooms in. It lands on Andy Byron, who's the CEO of Astronomer. And right next to him is Kristen Cabot, the chief people officer.
Yeah.
Head of HR, basically.
Okay.
And so sources say he's hugging her from behind. But their reaction, that's what's key, right?
Absolutely pivotal. What did they do?
She immediately hides her face.
Yeah.
And he, physically ducks away from the camera. It's pure panic, caught on the Jumbotron for everyone.
Wow. You can just picture the awkwardness and the immediate, moment for the crowd.
And that's when Chris Martin, the Coldplay guy, just chimes in, totally off the cuff.
Oh, right. I remember reading about this part.
He says something like, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. And that comment, it just poured fuel on the fire.
Yeah, it basically framed the narrative instantly for everyone watching live, didn't it? Suddenly, it wasn't just an awkward moment. It was potentially scandalous.
Exactly. It amplified everything.
Yeah.
But here's another detail from the sources I found really interesting.
Okay.
The video also showed another Astronomer employee, Alyssa Stoddard. She was there too, and she's seen kind of smiling in shock.
Oh, interesting. So not hiding.
No. And social media, you know how it is, instantly jumped on that. People decided she must have been in the know about this supposed affair.
Right, and that immediately starts feeding into bigger theories, I bet.
Totally. It fueled all this early talk about a possible toxic work culture
Right.
at Astronomer, just from one facial expression. What does that tell us about how quickly we jump to conclusions now?
Well, it shows how a single visual cue, like a fleeting expression, gets instantly woven into a story, and the speed of the virality here, it's just mind-blowing.
How fast are we talking?
The sources say the video hit over 45 million views on TikTok alone, plus millions more elsewhere, within minutes, really. This private moment became a public spectacle. And, for something to go that viral that fast, you often need that sort of trifecta. There's an emotional charge, right? Panic, awkwardness, there's status drama, CEO and the head of HR.
Yeah.
And then there's that bit of ambiguity, that reaction, Martin's comment. It just made it irresistible, highly shareable.
So the company, Astronomer, how did they react to this firestorm?
Almost as fast as the video spread, actually, which says a lot. The board of directors, they launched a formal investigation into the relationship between Byron and Cabot almost right away.
Okay, so immediate action.
Yep. Both were put on leave initially. It seems like they grasped how serious this could be for the company, instantly.
Yeah, and
Then just 3 days later, 3 days after the concert, July 19th, Andy Byron resigned. Gone.
that's incredibly fast for a CEO resignation.
It is. And the company's statement wasn't subtle. They said he failed to meet the company's standards in conduct and accountability. Yeah. They even quoted, our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, and recently that standard was not met. So a very public rebuke. No quiet exit.
Wow. So they're trying to control the narrative hard. Who stepped in?
Pete DeJoy.
Yeah.
He's a co-founder, was the chief product officer. He became interim CEO, and he had to acknowledge how weird it all was.
I bet.
He called the public attention surreal, which, yeah, for a tech company like that, it must have been. But then he said something kind of interesting.
What was that?
He said, while I would never have wished for it to happen like this, Astronomer is now a household name. Trying to find a silver lining, maybe.
Bold move. Spin the notoriety, I guess. What about Kristen Cabot, the chief people officer? Did she resign too?
Well, that's where it gets maybe even trickier. When the sources were published, her situation was still being negotiated. Byron was out, but her status was uncertain.
Why is it trickier for her?
Because of her role. She's the head of HR, right? The person ultimately responsible for upholding ethics, for enforcing policies about workplace relationships for everyone.
Ah, right. The perceived hypocrisy.
Exactly. It looks like, pure hypocrisy. It undermines her entire role, the entire HR function, really. It's not just an ethical lapse. It's a huge liability and a massive blow to internal trust. Makes her continued employment seem, well, very unlikely.
Okay, and just to clarify for anyone listening who hears astronomer and thinks, telescopes.
Right, good point. It's not about space.
No, it's a data operations and AI company. They work with something called Apache Airflow, basically helping businesses manage huge amounts of data, like a pipeline orchestrator.
And they're a big deal in that world, a unicorn company valued over $1 billion.
Right, they just raised, $93 million in funding back in May 2025? So this isn't some tiny startup, this is a major player.
Exactly. Which makes the stakes even higher. And that interim CEO, DeJoy, he was quick to try and refocus everyone.
How so?
He emphasized the company's commitment to its mission, its values. Said something like, the mission is bigger than any one moment, trying to steer the ship back towards business, away from the scandal, reassure investors, employees, everyone.
Makes sense. But, beyond the corporate stuff, the fallout.
Yeah.
It hit really hard on a personal level, too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for Andy Byron's wife.
Oh, absolutely. Megan Kerrigan Byron, she's an education professional, apparently kept a really low profile online, and suddenly she's dragged right into this mess.
Just awful. Her privacy completely gone.
And her actions, even without words, spoke volumes. The reports say she removed Byron from her social media profiles. Then she deactivated her Facebook account entirely because it was just flooded with comments.
Wow. A very clear public signal of distancing herself. Understandable, really.
Totally. And the sources mention they have 2 school-age kids, photos of the family that were previously online. Removed.
God, the kids, too. That's just heartbreaking.
So, yeah.
Has she said anything publicly?
No. Neither she nor any representative made any public statement. It's just this quiet, painful fallout. A real reminder that these things have ripples, big ones, that hit innocent people.
It really illustrates that broader point, doesn't it? How public scrutiny just bleeds everywhere now. It doesn't stop with the people directly involved. Family members get caught in the crossfire. It's relentless.
Yeah, that unforgiving reach of virality and the digital footprint just follows everyone. It's a really cruel part of this whole modern media landscape.
Okay, so we've laid out the sequence of events, the immediate impacts. Let's step back a bit. What does this whole episode tell us about leadership today? Is this a totally new kind of danger for executives?
That's a great question. I mean, ethical lapses in leadership, that's not new, right? That's timeless.
Yo.
But the speed and the scale of the consequences, that feels very new. This is like a textbook case of how quickly public perception, fueled by social media, demands accountability from leaders. Instantly.
So it's the amplification.
It's the amplification and the immediacy. An executive's misstep, or even just the perception of a misstep, especially when it's visual and easily shared, can become catastrophic almost overnight. For a company like Astronomer, a unicorn, that's not just bad PR, it shakes investor confidence.
Right, especially after a big funding round.
Exactly. It can damage the brand, make it harder to hire people. It becomes a genuine business risk, an existential one almost. And it happens before any facts are even fully established sometimes. The perception itself does the damage.
And that perception piece is so tied to social media, isn't it? It's not just a megaphone. It's, like you said, an instant court of public opinion.
Precisely. Millions of people formed a judgment almost instantly, reputations tarnished in hours. And this case had all those elements that make something go viral. That trifecta we mentioned, the emotion, the status, the ambiguity, it felt raw, real.
Yeah, that panicked reaction. It made it feel authentic, I guess, which made people feel involved, maybe?
It definitely transforms observers into participants, into commenters, into sharers. And it also immediately sparked those broader conversations, didn't it, about the workplace itself?
The toxic work culture stuff?
Yeah. People immediately started questioning the dynamics at Astronomer. When you have personal and professional lines blurring, especially between a CEO and the head of HR.
That's a classic power imbalance situation.
Huge power imbalance. It raises all sorts of questions about favoritism, maybe even quid pro quo situations. Whether it was happening or not, the perception is damaging. It kills employee morale. It kills trust in HR. If the person meant to enforce the rules is seen breaking them, well, who do you trust?
Good point. And then circling back to the investors and the company's reputation.
Well, Astronomer suddenly became a household name, like the interim CEO said, but for all the wrong reasons. Negative publicity.
Not the kind of brand recognition you want.
Definitely not. And for investors, leadership scandals aren't just embarrassing, they're red flags.
Yeah.
Big ones. They signal potential instability, poor judgment. They really are existential risks. So the board acting so quickly to get Byron out, that was damage control 101, trying to stop the bleeding, reassure the market, protect the brand, signal they take their values seriously. A painful but necessary move.
So wrapping this up,
Yeah.
this deep dive really shows how one single moment, just amplified like crazy by social media, can expose these ethical fault lines, demand instant accountability from leaders, and just highlight this really delicate balance, maybe a broken balance between personal behavior and corporate integrity.
It really does. And it leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? In this age where, let's face it, almost anything can be filmed, anything can be shared globally in seconds, what does real integrity even look like for people in power? Especially when the lines between public and private are so blurred. And how do we, just as people, as a society, navigate this world that demands constant accountability? Often before we even know the full story, it feels like the rules are being rewritten on the fly, often by these viral moments themselves.
That's a really powerful thought to end on. How do we navigate it all? Okay, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Astronomer Kiss Cam story. Lots to think about there. We definitely encourage you to chew on those questions yourself. Until next time.